First up is Wyckie Berry. Wyckie is the most lively person I've ever met. She's never met a stranger, and her love for her friends and her school doesn't go unnoticed. From cheering on Baylor as a cheerleader to being on the training staff, she always uses her skills to better the Baylor community. Wyckie is a consistent and loving friend. She has a positive attitude, and her outlook on life is admirable. Something that I love about Wyckie is the way she lights up a room. She has the innate ability to make people laugh, and her smile is infectious. I'm so excited to hear what she has to say, so please welcome Wyckie Berry.
A diagnosis. We've all gotten one, the flu or strep, but my diagnosis was different, or the lack thereof. 5th grade at my school came with so much excitement. We had our own hall, our own lockers, and we even got to do Seussical the musical. But for me, 5th grade also came with pain. Pain in my foot that kept me unable to walk on its worst days, but completely fine on its best. So that year came with casts, crutches, and many, many doctor's appointments. As you would expect, my friends were unable to understand what was happening and why I was okay on some days and not on others. Because of that, I was often bullied, outcast, and called a liar, to the point where I didn't believe my pain either. This led to a year of constant tears and pain both mentally and physically, to the point that my hair began to fall out from utter defeat. I was completely misunderstood by friends, family, doctors. After one of the worst years of my life, I got my diagnosis, metatarsal coalition. That summer, I had the surgery to fix it and slowly got myself back into dance and life as normal. That was until the pain appeared in my other foot and I was back in surgery for the repair. On my path to recovery, I became very sick and was rushed to the emergency room. The doctors informed my family and I that I had staph running through my body and emergency surgery was the best option to save my foot. While in the hospital, I had a nurse named Hallie. Hallie quickly became my favorite person on that floor. She was quiet when she came in the night, brought me plenty of popsicles, and made me feel safe and in control when life was out of control. Hallie walked me through my almost 2-month recovery and what life was going to look like. But no matter how much she prepared me, my family and I could never have prepared for what those weeks were going to look like. I was up every 3 hours, taking 4 pills each time. I ate little, I slept little. I missed weeks of school just to go back for a week and COVID take me out once more. After that, life moved on, but I never forgot Hallie. The one thing I did forget was this good God I had heard about in church. He was not for me. No God that I knew could put a 10-year-old through that much pain and hurt. That decision led me to find my joy in parties, boys, alcohol, and superficial relationships with friends. I had lost all sense of myself and turned into someone I didn't even recognize. COVID gave me time to think about who I was and what was important to me, and I decided Augusta was not supporting the best version of myself. So I flipped my life upside down and came to Baylor. Sophomore year was rough. I struggled to put myself out there and find my group. Not only that, I had another surgery in hopes of relieving the chronic pain that the infection had left me with. However, those 2 little incisions once again became infected, and I was back in emergency surgery at square one. My mom and I sat in the emergency room full of dread, being asked the highly familiar question of, "Have you eaten today?" The room was heavy as my mom made phone calls and we both tried to accept our reality. That was until Hallie walked in. My mom and I's eyes welled quickly as we recalled the joy that Hallie once brought us. She didn't even work day shift. She just picked up an extra shift and saw my name on the intake board. The familiar face brought a sense of peace over both of us. Hallie went beyond patient care and what was expected of her as a caretaker. Although the Holy Spirit was clearly shining through Hallie, I believed I was cursed and that God did not love me like he loved others. That curse has followed me for years. If you've ever had a class with me, you know that attendance is not my strong suit. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, but AP psychology is just not my thing. But usually, if you ask me where I was, I'll say I had something else to do. But, in all honesty, those infections have left me with a pretty weak immune system. At this point, I'm seeing different doctors around town and spending way too many hours in the health center. After this summer, I came back with so much anticipation for senior year. It was finally my turn to graduate and move on. That was until I met that good God I had heard so much about. I started going back to youth and taking a deep dive into young life. I took a step back and realized how much God had put into my life that I was utterly ignoring. God had given me parents who willingly allowed me to come here, parents who never failed to support me and love me in every endeavor. He had given me a best friend who not only loves me and fully cares about me, but continues to push me closer to him. He gave me a group of dorm sisters who are always by my side and in my room eating my snacks every day. But most of all, God gave me each and every one of you. I have been gifted with godly friendships, my youth group, mentors, and so many other people who have met me where I was in my brokenness and sorrow. He gifted me his only son so that I may live and love and share his glory to all who I surround myself with. Each of you have shown me what it means to be fully loved, fully seen, and fully cared for. Through this year, I have taken time to notice when someone reminded me of Hallie, when someone went out of their way to do something that represented God's love. I felt the love when someone took the time to make sure I had somewhere to sit at lunch. I felt the love when working a basketball game and one of the players came over to make sure I got a hug. And I especially felt the love when I'd hear my name from the stands while hydrating the refs. Yes, I am that trainer girl, as the middle schoolers so kindly call me. So, how can each of us continue to share God's love and be more like Hallie? Well, to the day students, check on your border friends. You have no clue what it looks like to be away from home, but what you do know is how to be a good friend and how to share your family when they have no family to go home to. To everyone, be intentional. It's much easier to be unintentional, but much harder to be intentional. Invite a friend to hang out, give a hug, or just offer small words of encouragement. Lastly, my biggest takeaway from these 3 years is how to live out the word of the Lord. I have learned the importance of a servant mind. Be the first to give up your seat, the first to offer an ear to listen, and the first to serve others. Meet everyone where they are, take a seat at the table, and get to know them for who they are. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." But, similarly, a couple months ago, my dad texted me and said, "Follow your heart as you consider where God might be leading you next, and you won't go wrong." To each of you, I love you, I care about you, I see you, and I thank you for the best 3 years.